Imagine standing at the end of your life, looking into a mirror that reflects not who you were, but who you could have been. For most of us, that reflection is a stranger. We live in a state of perpetual brokenness, not because we lack talent, but because we have spent our lives making low-value offers to the world, and more importantly, to ourselves. We settle for the bargain bin version of existence because we are terrified that our true self isn't worth the asking price. Now, before we continue to ponder on this great book for our next life step to take, please like, subscribe, and share to someone that deserves to know this so we can all grow together. After you've done this, let's continue. Alex Hormozi's 100 Million Offers is often categorized as a business book, a guide for entrepreneurs to scale their revenue. But if you listen with your soul, you realize it is actually a treatise on the anatomy of worth. It is a surgical manual for the mind, designed to cut away the necrosis of regret and the rot of good enough. Today, we are going to deconstruct this work through a lens of personal transformation. We are going to talk about why you feel stuck in a cycle of regret, why your inner market is crashing, and how you can apply the Grand Slam philosophy to mend the broken parts of your spirit. This is about moving from a life of scarcity to a life of such immense value that the world has no choice but to yield to you. Lesson 1. The Philosophy of the Niche. Healing through Focus. The first deep lesson Hormozi offers is the power of the niche. In business, he tells you to stop trying to sell everything to everyone. In the realm of the soul, this translates to a profound truth. Your brokenness comes from trying to be everything to everyone while being nothing to yourself. We scatter our energy across 1,000 different anxieties. We regret the past, we fear the future, and we try to please people whose names we won't remember in 10 years. This broadness is a defense mechanism. If we don't commit to one path, we can't truly fail at it. But Hormozi argues that the riches are in the niches. To heal your mind, you must niche down your focus. You must pick the one area of your brokenness, be it your health, your discipline, or your creative voice, and commit to it with a ferocity that borders on obsession. Depth is where the value is. When you focus on everything, you are worth nothing. When you focus on one thing, you become a master of that universe. This is the cure for regret. Regret is simply the pain of unrealized potential spread too thin. By choosing a niche for your life, you narrow the field of battle. You give yourself permission to ignore the noise of the world and find the signal in your own heart. Lesson 2. The Value Equation. A map for the broken mind. Let us look at the core of this book, the value equation. Hormozi posits that value is the dream outcome multiplied by the perceived likelihood of achievement, divided by the time delay and the effort and sacrifice. On a spreadsheet, this is a way to make money. In the theater of the mind, this is the formula for self-belief. Firstly, the dream outcome. Most of you are depressed because your dream outcome is actually a nightmare avoidance. You aren't running toward a 100 million life, you are running away from a $0 life. Your vision is defined by what you lack rather than what you desire to create. To mend your mind, you must define a dream outcome that is so vivid and so massive that it pulls you out of bed. A soul without a Grand Slam vision will always default to the comfort of its own brokenness. Secondly, perceived likelihood of achievement. This is where most of us are truly broken. We don't believe we can win. We look at our past mistakes, the failed businesses, the broken relationships, the wasted years, and we use them as evidence that our likelihood of success is zero. But Hormozi teaches us that likelihood is a perception. You change this perception by building a stack of undeniable proof. You don't tell yourself you're a winner. You do things that winners do until the evidence is so overwhelming that your doubt has nowhere to hide. Thirdly, time delay. We live in an era of now. We want the healing now.
We want the success now, and when it doesn't happen, we fall into the pit of regret. Hormozi argues that the longer the time delay you can endure, the more valuable the outcome. This is the philosophy of delayed gratification. Your brokenness is often just a lack of patience. If you can accept that the journey will take time, the weight of that time becomes a tool for building strength rather than a burden that crushes your spirit. Fourthly, effort and sacrifice. This is the bottom of the equation, the cost. Many people want the 100 million life with a $10 effort. They want healing without the sacrifice of their old toxic habits. But value is created when you minimize the perceived effort for the customer while maximizing your own discipline. In personal development, you are both the provider and the customer. You must be willing to sacrifice the lower versions of yourself to afford the higher version. Sacrifice is not a loss, it is an exchange. You are trading your pain for your power. Lesson 3. The ethics of the offer. Overcoming the guilt of greatness. One of the most profound sections of this book deals with the unrivaled offer. Hormozi suggests that if you aren't making a grand slam offer, you are essentially stealing from your customers because you're not giving them the best chance to succeed. Carry this into your soul. If you are playing small, if you are staying broken and hiding in your regrets, you are stealing from the world. You have a unique set of experiences, your niche of pain, that someone else is currently drowning in. By refusing to heal, by refusing to package your lessons into a life of value, you are withholding the lifeline that someone else needs. It is not humble to be broken forever. It is selfish. The $100 million offer to yourself is the promise that you will become so capable, so strong, and so valuable that your mere presence elevates the people around you. This shifts the focus from woe is me to how can I serve, and in that shift, the brokenness begins to knit itself together.
This next movement of our exploration dives into the darkest corners of the human psyche, the fear of failure and the illusion of time. To reach our goal of a truly deep multi-hour script, we must examine the mechanics of how we insure our lives against regret and why the clock is our most brutal yet honest mentor. Lesson 4. The naming of your pain, the power of identity. In $100 million offers, Alex emphasizes the power of naming your offer. He explains that a general massage is worth $50, but a medical back pain relief protocol is worth $500. The name changes the perceived value because it changes the identity of the service. Most of you are suffering because you have named your life the struggle or the failure. You have given your pain a generic name that carries no value and no hope. When you name your situation brokenness, you are choosing a title that implies you are a finished product that is simply defective. But if you rename that same experience the refiner's fire or the pre-launch testing phase, the psychological weight shifts. You are no longer a victim of a broken past. You are an architect in the middle of a complex build. Your identity is the grand slam offer you are presenting to the universe. We must stop identifying with the low-ticket version of ourselves. A low-ticket person is someone who is easily swayed by emotions, who lets regret dictate their afternoon, and who discounts their own worth to make others comfortable. To mend your mind, you must rebrand. You must give your life a premium name. You are not trying to get better. You are executing a high-performance restoration. The language you use to describe your soul determines the price the world is willing to pay for your presence. This isn't just positive thinking, it is identity economics. If you view yourself as a $100 million asset, you do not spend 4 hours scrolling through the highlight reels of people you don't like. You do not treat your body like a trash can. You do not allow your mind to dwell on unfilled orders from 5 years ago. You protect the asset because the name demands it. Lesson 5.
creating your own value stack, layering habits for mental health. Most people try to fix their lives with one big move. They think, if I just get that job or if I just find that partner, I will be healed. That is a single point of failure offer. If that one thing goes away, you are back to zero. A Grand Slam soul is built on a stack. It is the combination of physical discipline, mental clarity, financial literacy, and emotional stoicism. Think of your value stack for your mind. Layer 1, you wake up at the same time every day, reliability. Layer 2, you move your body until it sweats, vitality. Layer 3, you read a book that challenges your ignorance, intellect. Layer 4, you do the hardest task first, courage. When you stack these, you aren't just a person who woke up early. You are a person who is reliable, vital, intellectual, and courageous. The weight of this stack is what crushes regret. Regret is light, it's a vapor. It can only exist in an empty mind. When your mind is stacked with evidence of your own competence, there is no room for the ghosts of your past to sit. You had crowded them out with the sheer volume of your current value. This is how you mend the mind, not by fixing the old thoughts, but by building so many new ones that the old ones become a minority in your mental marketplace. Lesson 6. The psychological delivery. How to perceive your own success. Hormozi speaks about perceived likelihood of achievement. This is the most critical variable in the value equation for anyone who feels broken. If you don't believe you can win, the time delay feels like a prison and the effort feels like torture. To heal, you must manipulate your own perception of your success. We often wait for a big win to feel successful. We wait for the $100 million. But Hormozi suggests that the value is in the perception. To mend your brokenness, you must celebrate the micro-delivery. If you said you were going to drink 8 glasses of water and you did it, you must acknowledge that as a successful delivery. You are training your brain to believe that you are a person who gets results. This is the feedback loop of the soul. When you deliver on a small promise, your perceived likelihood for the next bigger promise goes up. Slowly, the brokenness begins to heal because the cracks are filled with small, solid wins. You stop regretting the big things you didn't do because you are too busy noticing the small things you are doing. Remember, the market, life, doesn't pay you for your intentions, it pays you for your delivery. And the most important customer you will ever have is your own subconscious. If you keep refunding your promises to yourself, your subconscious will eventually stop buying your dreams. It will mark you as a high-risk investment. To fix this, you must start delivering small bonuses of integrity until your internal credit score is restored.
Lesson 7. The unbeatable guarantee. Taking the risk off your future. In the book, a guarantee is how you make an offer grand slam. It's saying, if you don't get the result, I will work for free until you do. Apply this to your personal development. You need to make an unbeatable guarantee to your future self. Tell yourself, I will not stop until I am the person I was meant to be. If I fail today, I will show up tomorrow. If I fail for a year, I will show up for a decade. There is no refund on my effort. I am all in. This removes the risk of trying. If you have already decided that you will never quit, then failure is no longer a risk. It's just a temporary state of incomplete delivery. Most people's minds are broken because they have an exit strategy for their own growth. They have a, if this doesn't work in 6 months, I'll go back to my old ways clause in their contract. This clause is a poison. It ensures that when things get hard, you will choose the refund of mediocrity over the effort of excellence. Delete the exit strategy. Make your growth a non-refundable investment. Lesson 8. The psychology of pricing. Why you must value your pain.
Hormozi teaches that price is value. If you charge more, people value the service more. If you treat your time and your healing as cheap and disposable, you will never respect the process. You must price your transformation high. It must cost you something. It must cost you your old friends, your old habits, and your old excuses. The reason you haven't healed is that you're trying to find a discount on transformation. You're looking for the free version of $100 million soul, but there are no discounts in the realm of the spirit. The price of greatness is total surrender to the process. When you finally pay that premium price, you will find that the brokenness you once loathed becomes your most prized possession, because it was the currency you used to buy your wisdom. Lesson 9. Risk Reversal, the art of forgiving your past. In the world of business, Alex Hormozi speaks of risk reversal, the idea that you take the burden of "what if this goes wrong" off the customer and put it on yourself. But when we look at the architecture of the human soul, we realize that most of us are paralyzed because we are carrying the risk of every mistake we have ever made. We are our own most unforgiving debt collectors. We wake up every morning and demand payment for sins committed 10 years ago. Your brokenness is essentially a bad contract you've signed with your past. You believe that because you failed before, the risk of trying again is too high. You have no guarantee for your future. But Hormozi's philosophy suggests a radical shift. What if you offered yourself a money-back guarantee on your own life? What if you decided that the risk of failure was actually zero because the only true failure is the refusal to iterate? In business, if a product doesn't work, you don't burn the warehouse down, you change the offer. In life, when we stumble, we tend to burn our entire identity. We say, "I am a failure," rather than "this version of my plan failed." To mend your mind, you must separate your value from your performance. You are the creator of the offer, not the offer itself. Risk reversal for the soul means realizing that you cannot lose time if you are gaining data. Every regret you hold is simply a piece of market research. You tried to find happiness in a certain habit, or a certain person, or a certain career, and the market, life, told you the value wasn't there. That isn't a tragedy, it's a data point. The risk is reversed the moment you realize that even your lowest moments are just building the stack of proof for who you will eventually become. Stop asking the world to take a chance on you when you haven't even taken the risk off the table for yourself. You do this by committing to a conditional reality. I will keep adjusting my life until the result is inevitable. When you decide that the outcome is certain, the fear of the journey vanishes. You are no longer gambling. You are simply waiting for the clock to catch up to your conviction. Part 6. Scarcity and Urgency, Why Your Life Ends Tonight. Hormozi spends significant time discussing scarcity, how many are left, and urgency, how much time is left. Most people think these are tricks to get people to buy things, but in the context of personal development, these are the two most fundamental laws of the universe. They are the only things that give human life any meaning at all.
We are broken because we live as if we are immortal. We treat our potential as if it's a commodity that will always be in stock. We say, "I'll start that business next year," or "I'll heal my relationship when things calm down." We treat our own greatness as a limited-time offer that never actually expires. This is a lie that breeds mediocrity. True philosophical scarcity is the realization that there is only one of you. In the history of the billions of years of this universe, there has never been your specific DNA, your specific trauma, and your specific perspective. If you do not sell your vision to the world, that vision dies with you. It is permanently out of stock. When you realize your own rarity, you stop letting people buy your time for pennies. You start acting like the $100 million asset you are. Then there is urgency. Hormozi uses timers and deadlines to drive action. For you, the timer is your heartbeat. Every beat is a click on the checkout page of your life. We often live in a state of brokenness because we think we have time to be miserable. We think we have the luxury of regret, but regret is a parasite that feeds on the illusion of a long future. If you knew you were dying tonight, you wouldn't spend a single second regretting 5 years ago. You would be consumed by the urgency of the present. To heal your mind, you must inject this ethical urgency into your daily routine. You must act as if the offer of your life is about to be pulled from the market, because it is. Every day you spend in a state of brokenness is a day you are refusing to fulfill the contract you signed with existence. This is how you stop the regret loop. You realize that the time delay in the value equation is the only part you can't truly control, but you can influence its weight by acting with extreme urgency. The faster you move, the less time regret has to catch up to you. Speed is the disinfectant of the soul. Lesson point 10. The bonus. Giving more than you are. A key part of the $100 million offer is the bonus, the extra value that makes the deal irresistible. In our faceless journey of the soul, the bonus is your character. It's the things you do when no one is watching. It's the extra mile you go for yourself when you're tired, and no one would blame you for quitting. Most people do the bare minimum to survive, and then they wonder why they feel empty. They are offering a commodity life. They are doing just enough to not get fired, just enough to stay in a relationship, just enough to keep their bodies from falling apart. But the Grand Slam soul is built on the over-delivery of virtue. When you start over-delivering to yourself, when you work out harder than you planned, when you study longer than you thought you could, when you show more kindness than the other person deserves, you are adding bonuses to your own identity. This creates a psychological surplus. You no longer feel broken, you feel overflowing. You cannot feel like a victim when you are a provider of massive value. The shift from "what can I get" to "what can I give" is the ultimate mind-mending tool. It turns you from a beggar into a king, and a king does not regret the rags he used to wear. He understands they were simply the costume he wore before he realized his true rank. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to join our inner circle of builders. We don't just read books, we build blueprints for freedom. Don't just watch the world change in 2026, be the one who owns the change. I'll see you in the next breakdown. Happy New Year!